Oh my god. First Lockjaw and now this. I mean, nobody has the fucking right to diss High School Musical until they've seen this. Like, nobody has the fucking right. Once you've seen this, any complaints you will have against High School Musical can fucking go away. They can be fucking torn up, pissed on, ground into the fucking dirt, and then have the dirt salted. This movie, my god. I actually wrote a list, double-sided, of how many goddamn problems that this fucking movie has. But first let me point something out. The name, Sunday School Musical. I wasn't expecting anything good from this movie right from the word go. As soon as I even found out that this movie existed, I couldn't fucking believe it. But I'll tell you the plot, basically. There's this guy named Zachary, and he lives in some town, and he has a choir, but then his mom loses his job, and she, for some reason, I'll get to that in a minute, has to move. And so he goes to another place and and joins another choir. And then by the end of the movie, the two choirs unite and then perform at this choir competition thing. I call it a competition, hardly any people really show any interest in this competition. And the prize money is like, how the fuck could a choir competition have that much bloody money? But, you know, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So that's basically your plot for this movie. The idea that this movie can exist is just so stupid. So, you know what? Let's get into all the problems with this movie, right? Right, number one, the acting is fucking atrocious. I mean, yeah, I've seen worse. I'll give you that. The acting wasn't as bad as, say, Lockjaw. Admittedly, the performances were slightly better, but they were still fucking bad. Like, there was little to no character development in any of them. I didn't really care for any of the characters. Most of the characters just had the same sort of fucking look on their face, and I couldn't tell whether they were happy or sad half the time. And it just... none of the characters were at all interesting, you know, and the main issue being that there was no development. You know, and this might sound odd, but say for example in High School Musical, right, you got plenty of fucking development of characters in that movie. You won't know how. Thanks to one fucking song, we got to know all the characters, and it worked. This movie didn't have that. We didn't get to know any of the characters until way later in the movie, and by that point, I didn't care for any of them. Like, later on in the movie you find out, oh, this girl is shy, but does it fucking matter? We're like 70 minutes into this movie. We don't care for this character. We don't care about any of fucking developments. And then only about 50 minutes into the movie we find out that this girl's mother died, you know, despite the fact that apparently she was discussing problems earlier on in the movie. And it's like, thanks for telling us that she's dead now, when we really don't need to know it. It's not like this really has any sort of effect on the movie in any way, so it's, what's the point? Ugh. And that brings me to my next point. There are so many pointless scenes in this movie. For example, there's a scene where the girl's studying and the dad comes in to offer her help. Okay, what point does this have to do with the plot? And then there's a scene where this guy's standing on the top of the building, and then he starts dancing, and then it just cuts to another scene. What was the point of that? The scene went on for like 1 whole minute, and there was nothing. They could have cut that scene out and threw it away. What else? Another pointless scene. Yeah, there's another pointless scene. The guy walks out of class, tells her that he got like an A- on a test that he needed, even though it didn't really show much fucking, you know, tension on whether he would pass the test. I've seen movies that actually have done that, like say Coach Carter, you know, and then they just cut to another scene. It's like where the two characters that were in that scene are sitting down talking. Why didn't they just cut to that scene and put that bit of dialogue in there? But, you know, that's too logical. Let's move along. Oh yeah, it keeps cutting to black. You know how people complained about this, in the movie Barbed Wire, where it's cutting to black and then fading into white? Well, this movie has the same bloody problem, basically. It constantly cuts to black, And for one part, I actually thought the movie was over, but then it kept going. Ugh. The editing is also a fucking random mess. It's like, sometimes the audio is out of sync, and sometimes there's like continuity errors within the shots. Like one moment the person's standing in one spot, then the next moment they're standing in a completely different spot. The music is... I mean, I'm sure that there will be people out there that probably like this kind of rap hip-hop bullshit, but I just did not like any of the music. I couldn't get into any of it. Plus, with the heavy Christian overtones, it just made it laughable. And not even that. It was boring. Now, I'm going to point out one of the biggest problems with this movie. There seems to be no point in the character moving. Why did he have to move house? Why did he have to change school? Because he's constantly going back and forth between the two schools. Like, he says, oh, I have to move, I have to change schools. And then, he's in the new school, and then not 20 minutes later in the movie, he's meeting up with his friends in the other school. And he does that at least 3 times. He meets up with these characters. And they constantly meet up on this roof that was clearly in the town where the guy used to live. So what? And he was there, you know, with his friends from the school that he's currently going to. I know this might sound a bit confusing, but was there any point in him moving, let alone changing school? Seriously, was there any point? He could have just stayed at that school if it was that easy to travel there. Fucking no logic whatsoever in the moving of the characters. Now, you would assume that a movie like this would have some sort of villain, right? And we think we're going to get a villain towards the end of the movie, and it's like, we have this other choir, I know, but let's just go with it. We have this other choir that tries to get the others that gets the other choir, the two choirs working together, you know, out of the competition, because they don't think it's fair. And then it's like, there's no development in these characters. We don't feel any reason to hate them. We don't feel any reason, like, to have any threat by them. And then by the end of the movie, they're all nice and like, oh, sorry about that. It's like, sorry about what? Barely anything fucking happened. Ugh. You know, and the reason that they come up with, you know, behind having not, like, basically the competition at the end, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow 2 choirs to work together. What reason do you have for this? It's not fair. Did you state that in the rules? There's a part in the movie where they say, oh, there's nothing in the rules that says we can't do it, and yet they still don't let them do it. And it's like, give us a fucking reason! Ugh. One more thing. The stereotypes. The fucking stereotypes. Yeah, they're black, so they like rapping when they're walking up the street. Yo, I'm totally hip and happening. You know? And then it's like, the whites in this movie, I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, differentiate, but, you know, the whites and the blacks, you know, it seems like they fitted every possible stereotype that could be fitted into each ethnic group. The blacks are all rapping and hip-hopping and bling-bling and shit, and the whites are all clingy and tidy and moaning and all the fucking time. It is one of the most stereotypical movies I've ever seen in my life, and that is saying a lot. But, you know what? That's all I have to say about this movie. It's a fucking horrible movie. I'm telling you, if you don't like High School Musical, you'll fucking despise this movie. This movie wasn't even funny. I thought I would get a slight giggle, if not anything, out of the Christian overtones. But nothing. It's nothing but a movie about a bunch of fucking overhyped Christians in a school that appears to be fucking deserted because hardly anybody bloody goes there. Fuck this movie, and fuck you, Nick and Chris, for making me watch it. Oh, God. Well then, I've finally gotten that out of the way. I don't think Nick and Chris can moan at me anymore.
Wait!
What?
We will not be happy until you review all the Blood Fist movies.
Oh, come on, man. I followed through on our deal.
We will not be happy until you stop threatening our video empire.
Video empire? And why are you talking like that?
I'm negotiating. That's my negotiating voice.
Glenn, make them stop.
Look, why don't you guys just call a truce? This is giving me a headache.
That may be up for deliberation.
Alright, good. Now, you up for that?
Yeah, sure, that seems fair enough. Well, anyways, this has been another episode of Dragon Cast Movie Vault.
And guest starring Nick and Chris.
Fuck you!
No!
So, the money?
Bye.